Hey, this is Kip, and this is part 4 of my OnAir Company guide. And in this video, we're going to rent a new plane, the 208B Grand Caravan, which is a single-engine turboprop, and we're going to ferry that plane to our home base. And then we're going to have to take a check ride to be able to fly that plane. So our pilot is only endorsed to fly a single-engine piston airplane right now. So we need to do a check ride so he'll get the certification to be able to fly a single engine turboprop. And when we're done with that, we'll do the level 2 mission that is pending in our pending job screen. What's special about this mission is that it's our first multi-leg job. So there are 2 legs involved with this job. We need to pick up cargo at airport A, fly it to airport B and deliver it there, but then pick up cargo from airport B and bring it south to airport C. And we won't get credit for completing this job until all of the legs are completed. The first thing I'm going to do is go find a new plane. I want to rent the Grand Caravan. It's actually one of the most popular planes in OnAir Company. And if you are curious what's popular in OnAir Company, you can go up to the top under the World menu. And then on the right side here, there's a little button that says Aircraft Usage Tree. And this will show you the most popular planes used of each plane type in OnAir Company. So here under the second column, you can see the single engine turboprops. The TBM 930 is the most popular, and right under it is the 208B Grand Caravan. So we're going to be flying the Grand Caravan. It's a workhorse that can take a ton of cargo, and it'll really increase how much money we can make per job. So let's go ahead and find a Grand Caravan near us. I'm going to go up to the World menu at the top and then go to Aircraft Market. The safest way to make sure you're choosing the correct plane in OnAir Company, make sure it matches the one that you're going to choose in your simulator, is by loading that plane in your simulator. So the first thing I'm going to do here, actually in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you don't have to go through the world map and do this. There's a little shortcut. You can go to the hangar, so under Profile and then Hangar. Loading a plane here in your hangar will count as loading it in OnAir Company. It'll still work. It'll detect this plane right here. So if I change my aircraft to this Pit Special just as a test, and then go back to OnAir Company, I just hit this button that says search for the aircraft I have loaded in my simulator. And then we can see that it's chosen this one that's just called Pits. So I'm going to hit show all again at the top and now go back. And this time, let's choose the Grand Caravan. So I'm going to do change aircraft, type in Caravan. And I actually have 2 Grand Caravans. This one here on the right is the one that comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is the 208B. This one has a G1000 suite in it. And this one on the left, the black square analog caravan, this is a mod that I paid for, a third-party mod for this plane that changes the cockpit to use more steam gauge or analog instruments instead of the G1000. So what I can do is choose either one of these. I'll just do both of them and see which one counts as which in OnAir Company. So if I choose a Grand Caravan EX, this is the stock one. And then I can see that it's loaded here in my hangar. Now if I go back to OnAir Company and click this button again, search for the aircraft I have loaded in my simulator, it brings up, as expected, the Grand Caravan EX. Now I'll go back, change aircraft, and choose the analog caravan. This is the third-party version. And in this one, it just has a different interior. So this one has like a steam gauge interior. So now that this is loaded, I'll go back. And I usually just hit the show all button first to kind of reset it to make sure I can see that it changes. And then I'll hit the search for what I have loaded in my sim again. And it's actually bringing up the same plane, the Grand Caravan EX. And this is important to check just because actually a couple months ago, I was using the Grand Caravan analog version and it was not matching to the EX version in OnAir Company. It was matching to this other one that's just called, if I do the search again, it's this one right here just called the Cessna 208 Grand Caravan, not the B Grand Caravan EX. Since then, something has changed where the analog caravan is no longer using this airplane in OnAir Company. It's actually mapped to this one, the same as using the stock Asobo Grand Caravan. So whichever one I choose in my sim, it's going to map to the Grand Caravan EX. So I know this is the correct one to pick here. So let's find one that's nearby our home base, and then I'll rent it and ferry it. All right, so now we have the Grand Caravan right here, 57 Charlie. This is our new one. And you'll notice it's at the airport that we purchased it at or rented it from, 05 Foxtrot Lima. So we need to ferry this to my pilot's current location. So I'm going to do that by hitting the Manage button right here, click on Ferry, and then I'll put in the destination airport X-Ray 06, that's Arcadia. And then it gives me this warning right here. So it says how much it's going to cost, how long it'll take. So it'll take 0.8 hours, so a little less than an hour, and it's only going to cost us 104 credits. So I'll hit OK to start the ferry. Now we can see that little purple icon up here that indicates it's being ferried. So in an hour from now, I'm going to go do some other stuff. And once the plane is available, what we're going to have to do is actually take a check ride in this plane because we're not able to fly it yet. All right, now that the ferry for the Grand Caravan is completed, right here there's a green checkbox, so it's idle and it's ready to be used. All I have to do a check ride is go over to the Manage button on the right and then click on Check Ride. All right, so it immediately takes us over to the flight tracking page when you do a check ride. So all you have to do is load into the airport that the plane is at. In my case, that's X-Ray 06, and make sure you load in obviously with the correct plane. So in my case, that's the Grand Caravan. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that in the sim. When you do a check ride, you can actually load directly onto the runway. So to save some time, I'm just spawning in on the runway. Plane is all started up and ready to take off. So all I have to do is go back over to OnAir Company and then click the button up here in the top right that says Start Check Ride.
Taxi to the runway and take off.
You land and shut down the engines.
All right, so it's giving us instructions here in OnAir Company, and it also says them through the text-to-speech feature. So it said to taxi to the runway and take off. And if I open up the flight data up here, you can see there are no penalties for having started on the runway automatically. So all we have to do is take off.
Fly runway heading. Continue to climb.
All right, so they said keep climbing and fly runway heading. And in the check ride, you can actually use autopilot as much as you want. There's no penalties for using autopilot. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on.
Turn right, heading 060, climb to 5,000 feet.
All right, right turn 060. I'm gonna go to heading mode and do that. And then climb to 5,000 feet. We're actually on 066 already, so it's actually more of a left turn. And then climb to 5,000 feet. So I'm just gonna use autopilot. One thing you might have noticed is that it changed my time of day. I had pulled it back to a few hours earlier in the day, but it is forcing me to use the current live time.
Continue to heading 060, altitude 5,000 feet.
All right, so they just said to continue, so we're almost at 5,000 feet. And we're going to expect them to give us a series of just turns, climbs, descents, and then we'll return back to the original airport.
5,000 feet and heading 060 for a couple of minutes.
All right, so they just want us to maintain this. So we have 060 set on heading mode, altitude hold mode, 5,000 feet. It'll definitely be more challenging if you do this by hand. It's totally up to you. I tend to use autopilot just because I just want to pass it my first time, no questions asked. Autopilot makes it a lot easier to do that.
We will now start a slow turn exercise. Reduce your speed to 70 knots or less and maintain your altitude. Use your flaps if necessary. Please maintain 70 knots or less.
All right, so mattering the plane you're flying, this can be pretty challenging. This is also another good reason to use autopilot is the slow flight and slow turns are pretty challenging. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull almost to idle here. I need to get down to 70 knots. And mattering which plane you're flying, you'll probably need to get your flaps out at least a little bit, if not all the way, to slow down to 70 knots.
Please maintain 70 knots or less.
All right, almost at 70.
Now, maintain this speed at 5,000 feet and make a 360 standard turn to the right.
All right, now we do a right turn. So again, I'm just using the heading bug. I'm gonna bring it all the way down to almost west.
Continue the right turn until heading 060. Resume to normal speed. Turn left, heading 280, climb to 6,500 feet.
All right, 6,500 feet and turn left heading, what did he say, 260? If you forget, like I am right now, go back to OnAir Company, and then you'll see the main instruction right here. Continue to heading 280, 6,500 feet. All right, there's 280. He also said resume normal speed, so I'm gonna get my throttle up. And then remember to pick my flaps back up. And then selected altitude up to 6,500 feet. Then I'll turn on flight level change. All right, flaps are up. 6,500 feet on selected altitude, and we're already at heading 280. While we're getting up to 6,500, I'm just gonna put a direct to on my GPS back to our origin airport, X06.
Now, maintain 6,500 feet and heading 280 for a couple of minutes.
All right, they just want us to maintain this. So altitude hold mode is on, 6,500 feet. Heading is still 280.
Now, return and land at your departure airport with an appropriate IFR or VFR approach.
All right, so now all we have to do is go back to our departure airport, back to Arcadia, and it said we can use whatever IFR or VFR approach type we want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and hit procedures, and I have the NXI, which lets me do pretty much anything. I'm going to go ahead and just do a visual approach back to the runway we took off from, which was 06.
Taxi to your parking and shut down the engine.
All right, so they just want us to taxi to parking, shut down the engine, and we'll be done. All right, I'll just shut the engines off.
Time logged. The flight is finished. It has been monitored by OnAir.
All right, there we go. So we basically get a little end of flight summary, just like we normally do. But on this one, you can see the check ride results here. So if you did everything correctly, you get all 6 green check boxes. And then up here, it says that you passed the exam. All right, now we have our certification. You can see down here in the tips section that it's actually showing us that we don't have the certification for the PA44 that I got back in episode 2 because it's a multi-engine piston. So we don't have that one. If you go up to My Company at the top and then go to Employees, you can find yourself. So here I am. Over here next to Manage, we can actually see this little column that says C. This is for certifications, and we just have 2 now. All right, so now down here under certifications, you can see added to our list is the single engine turboprop land certification. So this will let us fly planes, of course, like the Grand Caravan. Another one that I might fly is the Kodiak. For the final part of this video, we're just gonna fly this 2-leg mission. So all these other jobs that are listed here are actually ones that I have my AI pilots flying right now using work orders. But here at the top, you can see this job right here with the little trophy icon. This is the second mission that we have. So this is our level 2 mission called local jobs. And you can see here that this one has 2 different legs we need to fly. So we have to pick up cargo at X-ray 06, fly it north up here to Avon Park Executive. That's Kilo Alpha Victor Oscar. We need to drop it off there. You can also barely see this here, but there's also a little green icon kind of overlapping there. That's indicating we need to pick up cargo from that airport and then fly it down here to the south to KFMY. This is Page Field. So we don't get paid for multi-leg jobs or missions until we complete all of the associated legs. So if I only do one of these, I won't get paid and I won't get the XP until the second leg is also completed. I could do them in whichever order I want, but it doesn't really make sense to take the cargo from X-ray 06 anywhere but up to KAVO. So because this is already an automatic mission that's pending, the cargo is already waiting for us at these 2 locations, at X-ray 06 and at KAVO. So whenever we go to our preparation screen to prepare our flight, that cargo will be available there already for us. So let's go ahead and make sure that there's fuel at both of these. I'm going to hit the little F button here to make sure that at KAVO there's fuel, and there is. It says there's 100 low lead and there's jet fuel available and a workshop, so we're good there. And then if I hit the F button here to look at the availability At our last airport, which is KFMY, there is also 100 low lead and jet there as well. So no worries about fuel. We're not going to get stranded because there's fuel available at both airports. Because I rented the Grand Caravan and it has a max payload of 3,000 pounds, what I'm going to do is actually find a job, see if there's another job that goes up to the first airport we're going to. So if I go back to pending here, first airport we're flying up to for that mission, if I expand the legs right here on the left, it's KAVO. So if I hit this little target icon again, it'll say search for jobs with the same departure and arrival. So we're taking 400 pounds. So I can take a good, probably 1,500 to 2,000 pounds additional cargo up there. So let's see if there's another job that gives me up to 2,000 more pounds. So now we can see that there are actually 2 more jobs that are going up there. And these are not the mission. These are separate regular jobs from the logistics center. And they're about 800 pounds each. So I'm pretty sure I can take both of these. So I'm going to hit take and take again. So now not only are we going to start this mission and do the first leg of it, but I'm also stacking up 2 more jobs. So we're going to earn some extra money on this flight as well. Now that I have all of those taken, I know they're leaving from the same airport. So I'm just going to go to my aircraft to start the job this time. Normally I go to the pending menu and then choose which plane I'm going to fly, but I already know what I'm going to fly and the cargo's already there at X-Ray 06 waiting for us to take it. So I'm going to prepare it just by going to the flight preparation screen right here. So I'm just going to click this little plane icon that says prepare your flight. And something that does not happen when we do it this way is it doesn't automatically check the cargo for us. So if you had a lot of cargo built up here, it may be a little confusing. But because I know I only have the cargo and the mission cargo up to KAVO, these are the 3 that I'm expecting. So all I have to do is tick all 3 of these boxes. And as far as the distance, it's only 29 nautical miles away. And the fuel that came with this plane already is up to 636 pounds. It says we have a range of 260 nautical miles with reserve fuel. So we have plenty of fuel already. I'm not worried about doing any additional fuel planning or anything like that. So I'm just going to validate the fuel and the payload and let the cargo get loaded. While I'm waiting for the cargo to get loaded, I'm going to go ahead back to the main menu in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I'm going to load in at parking once again at X-Ray 06. So back to the world map, X-Ray 06. I'm going to start at parking. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the slider down here for the current time back a little bit, just so we're in daytime right now. All right, now back to OnAir Company. We just wait for it to finish loading all this cargo up. All right, all the cargo and fuel is loaded up now. It's automatically put in our destination and our alternate for us. All I have to do now is I'm going to roll back the time using this little offset just so I can fly during the day. And then I can just click fly now. All right, so we have all green checks here. So everything is configured as it's expecting. And it's going to automatically set our payload, our fuel, and our date and time as soon as I hit start tracking. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now.
Landing time log.
Now, if we're feeling super lazy, we could actually just stop right here and just the cargo would count. We don't actually have to go to a parking spot. So I could just stop right here on the taxiway if I'm looking to save myself some time. Park, shut the engines off.
The flight is finished.
And then I'm going to use the engine shutdown key here, Control-Shift-E to turn everything off. So we do have to have it cold and dark before we start the next leg. All right, then over here we have our successful flight. So we got, let's see, 2 jobs paid out because those were the jobs that we took. And then this is the first leg of our mission. So if I hit OK here, it'll take us back to the dashboard. Then I can go up to pending jobs here at the top. All right, if we open this up, we can see that leg number 1 has been delivered. So next we just need to go to KFMY to deliver the other 479 pounds. Now KFMY is 63 nautical miles away. And we can probably take, again, another 2,000 or so pounds because I'm in the Grand Caravan. So I'm going to hit the little target or little bullseye button right here to find more jobs that are going from here to KFMY. There might not be any, but let's go ahead and check anyway. And there are 2 more. Oh, some of them are passenger jobs as well. So, oh, actually we can't take any of these passengers. So these passengers require business or first class seating. We only have economy seating. So if I go up here and choose our plane, right here, you can see I configured it for 14 economy seats. The people that are flying on this leg, they want business and first class seating. So what we could have done is had our seating configuration be all first class, which sounds kind of funny in a small plane like a Grand Caravan, but just think of it as, the value of the ticket. I don't know, maybe there's maybe they get a bottle of champagne or something, who knows? So I'm going to hit query again, and it's going to remove that because it doesn't meet our configuration of 14 economy seats. So because of that, we can't earn that 10,000 credits. But we can pick up this other cargo, this 529 pounds of cargo that's heading there. So let's go ahead and take this. And then once again, I'm going to go back to the My Aircraft menu because I already know that all the cargo is right here where this plane is. So I'm just going to go to Prepare Flight. So we can see that this cargo that's here just arrived. So it's still shown here temporarily, just as a confirmation that we dropped it off. But I'm going to pick the other 2. So we have the number 2 cargo delivery. This is for the mission. And then here's this 529 pounds of timber that we're going to take with us as that extra job we're stacking on top. So let's see, 63 nautical miles. Our range is 164 nautical miles. Let's make it 180. There, it's more than triple what we need. That's good. Validate fuel and payload. All right, there we go. All of the fuel and cargo is loaded again. Once again, I'm going to change the UTC offset down just by a couple hours. Make sure it's still daytime out, and then hit fly now. All right, we have all green checkboxes here. We're at KAVO, so we're flying to KFMY now. So I'm just going to hit start tracking.
Landing time log.
All right, here we are at parking at Page Field. Let's go ahead and shut it down and get paid.
Engine off time logged. The flight is finished. It has been monitored by OnAir.
All right, so we landed at Page Field, finished the level 2 mission. So now it's promoted us to level 3 and there's a new mission available. We'll go ahead and check that out. We also delivered the goods for the additional job that I picked up on the way to Page Field. So we got some extra cash because of that as well. And then the 6,500 right here, that is for the mission. So we finished both legs. So we got the 6,500 credits and 2,000 XP bonus. All right, now we go up to My Company and then go to Skills Tree. All right, so now we have 3 skill points to distribute. So I'm going to put 1 into the FBOs agreement so we can look at how to build an FBO and what is all involved with owning an FBO in the next episode. So I'll go ahead and hit the plus here. And if you hover over any of these or over the little kind of little notches in the bottom here, it'll tell you what each point in that gives you. So down here for passengers license and hiring agreement, there's just 1 point you can put in total. But here for FBOs, you can see there's up to 5 points I can put into the first node right here. Now I do have 2 other skill points to distribute, but I'm not going to use them just yet. So I'm going to hold on to those. I'm going to hit save in the bottom right, and that'll unlock the FBO agreements for us. All right, let's go up to the pending jobs here at the top shortcut bar and take a look at mission level 3. Right here at the top, we can see our new level 3 mission. This one is also local jobs, it says. And if we expand that, we can see that there are 3 legs. And this is different than our other missions because these involve passengers. And if you look at the details for this job, it shows that we're taking 9 passengers from X-ray 06 to X-ray 14 down here. Then there are 9 passengers that are going from X-ray 14 to KTPA, that's Tampa International, up here. And then from Tampa, there are 9 more passengers going over here to River Oak, which is 00 Foxtrot Lima. So we have our work cut out for us when we get to this. But in the next episode, part 5, I'm going to focus on the FBOs. So in preparation for doing this mission, you're going to need to rent a plane that is configured to take 9 or more passengers. The Grand Caravan or the Kodiak are really good options, but you can go ahead and explore the aircraft market and all the planes that are available in your simulator to figure out what you want to rent. All right, so that's it for part 4. In this part, we took care of check rides and flying a 2-leg mission to get to level 3. So we'll go ahead and pick this up again in part 5, where we're going to tackle FBO basics and also flying these passengers.